This is a Marshall 1959 Super Lead Plexi modified series. This is one of the best sounding Marshall Plexis I've ever played. We have presets and captures based on this amp for all kinds of digital modeling devices. Links below. As I said up front, this is a really, really good sounding Plexi. So Marshall actually just recently released these. I think they debuted them at NAMM in January 2025. They may have put them out a bit before that, but Marshall finally did like what all these other companies like Friedman and Bogner, and there's just tons. There's an entire industry of amp companies built on taking the classic 100-watt super lead, the 1959 model, and adding this stuff to them. You see all these switches in the front? These are the mods. So Marshall finally did it, and I'm gonna say they did it right. With the available mods on this thing, you can get like really lush, warm, beautiful clean tones like out of the Bright channel. Can you believe it? So let's talk about what you're gonna get with these different presets and captures, and then I'll tell you a little more about this amp and how we captured it and how we tone matched it. So for Line 6 and Fractal devices, and for Quad Cortex, the preset devices, if you will, non-capture devices, you're gonna get 2 sets of presets, and you're gonna get 4 different tone matched IRs because we captured it and tone matched it through 4 different cabinets. More on that in a bit. So the A preset, there's an A and a B preset, both with single coil and humbucker options. So in the A preset, you get 2 instances of the amp block in stereo with all of the wet effects and everything into the amps. We know, especially the church players like us, we prefer that kind of a setup. So we've delivered that. The amp is set clean, and I'll talk about how we do that here in a bit. Actually, Plexis are cleaner amps than most people think anyway, but there's a catch with this one. So two instances of the amp in stereo, amp set clean, all the stuff in front. Then the B preset is an instance of the amp or amp blocks that switch depending on the unit you're in. and then all of the wet effects and the stereo effects after the amp. So more like a studio setup. So in that situation, we've set up the amp so there is a clean sound and like a driven hot rodded Marshall sound, and we've set buttons to switch between them. So you're actually going to be able to gain the amp up. So in certain devices that will change parameters on the amp, sometimes it'll switch from an amp block like the bright channel of the amp to like the jumpered channel with everything set kind of gained up. Or in the Fractal devices, it switches channels in the amp block. So you get those two settings. And then, like I said, you get multiple IR options. So we captured this thing. We'll talk about the cabs we captured it through. We captured it through 4 different cabs. 3 of them are 412s, and there's a 212 matchless cab in there. So the 412 cabs are the oversized Super 100 412. That's the 1982B. That has like greenback type speakers in it, the G12Cs, which are meant to replicate like the worn-in greenbacks that were in Jimi Hendrix's actual amp. Great sounding cab, classic Marshall greenback 412. We also captured it through a vintage 1976 Marshall 412 slant cab, the 1960A, with original Celestion blackback speakers. That is collectively Bradford and I's favorite cab with this amp. Those blackbacks sound really good. They're clear. You still get that big 412 thing, but they have a ton of clarity, especially in the low end. Clarity, the lows are bright and clear. It's really something special. So that's the M76 option. So the MJH or the JH option is the Jimi Hendrix Super 100. The M76 is the 1976, Marshall 1960A. We also captured it through a Bogner 412 with vintage 30s. So this amp does really good like hard rock tones as well. You got these clipping options that give it more gain if you want. So we have sort of a more rock-focused amp in the Bogner. And then finally, we captured it through a matchless 212 cab with mismatched scumbag speakers that replicate the G12H and G12M thing that matchless does on the DC30. So that'll be labeled HM. That stands for the H, the G12H, the G12M speakers. All of this will be on the website linked below, what it all means. But that gives this amp a very different mid-range character and even some chimes. So if you're gonna pair this amp like I like to do with like a matchless amp, it's a really great pairing. If you use the HM speaker, it kind of makes the two sound more like each other, so a little more cohesive. It's just 4 different flavors that you can use with this amp. So for the preset devices, the way that it's meant to work is you import the IRs first, you import the presets, and then you can just put whatever cab you want in there. You don't need to touch the amp settings unless you really want to, unless you hear something you want to change. But we designed it so the IRs just work. It's almost like you just plug this into any of the cabs and just go with it. And it sounds it's just 4 different versions of really good Plexi is what it is. Okay, now for the capture devices, maybe I should have led with this. We made 85 captures of this amp. We might have gone a little overboard. So there's actually 17 captures per cab because this is a 3-channel amp. You've got the bright channel, you've got the normal channel, and you got the jumpered channel, but you also have all these mods. So we did 17 captures per channel times 4 cabs and direct. So 17 times 5, 85. 85 captures is a lot of captures, but we wanted to give you any tonal variety option that you want. So you can choose any of the 4 cabs that we captured it with, or take the direct captures and put whatever IR you want with it, with those direct captures. Now, there are 6 captures of the bright channel. So in the bright channel, you can, in the bright and the jumper channel, there's a bright cap mod on this thing. And if you flip it off, it's modded, so it takes the bright cap out, I believe. It makes this thing way less gain and much warmer. So now all of a sudden the bright channel is this very lush and articulate, beautiful clean tone. So the lower gain captures of the bright channel and the jumpered channel have that bright cap mod out. So you get like a really good, clean pedal platform type of a thing out of the Plexi. Then you'll see one that says BR. That's when the bright cap comes back in, or and so that would be like the stock Plexi. It gets much more aggressive, more gain in that situation. And then everything above it has the bright cap in. And then some of the captures say CLP. That has the gain clip mod in. So it's even more aggressive, more high gain. So that's how that all works. So we did that for the bright channel and the jumpered channel. So you get bright cap in, out options and the clipping, gain clipping in and out options. So for the normal channel, you kind of just get 4 captures of the normal channel, but the normal channel on this sounds really, really good as well. Like it's not like this, like a lot of Marshalls. So you get all of those capture options for all of the cabs, plus direct. We went a little overboard. This is probably the most extensive pack of captures we've ever made, but it's one of the best sounding amps in the room. It really is. Links below to grab the Marshall 1959 mod, preset, and capture pack. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.